All right, so big imbroglio, is that how you say that?
Yes.
Between Substack and Twitter. A lot going on here. So users on Twitter started noticing that you could no longer share Substack links. It was treating everything with regard to Substack very strangely, in a way harkening back to the early Elon Twitter days when they wouldn't let you share any like Mastodon links and other links out of the platform, which resulted in a huge backlash, and they ended up reversing the policy. Okay, so Substack getting similar treatment here, and not incidentally, right after they launched a sort of Twitter competitor of their own within the Substack platform, which is called Notes. So let me go ahead and put this up on the screen. This is some of what users were noticing. So first of all, if you would search for the word Substack, Twitter would return things for the search newsletter. So there's like a hard-coded search manipulation that was going on here to try to disappear any actual Substack results that people might be searching for. You also have unsafe link warnings for any Substack links. Newsletter is what Zainab Tafeki says here. Drowning in free speech is her characterization. And then you also had search results for Matt Taibbi Twitter files, also not returning any results whatsoever. And I'll show you that more of that in a moment. So clearly, Twitter deciding they were going to try to nuke this new nascent competitor to them being crafted over at Substack called Notes. So this has huge implications for everybody who is a writer over at Substack. I mean, Twitter is one of the primary ways that Substack authors promote their work and grow their following so that they can do the independent journalism that they're doing over on Substack. And there's also a great irony here because when Elon purchased Twitter, he claimed that this was all about, his commitment to free speech. Substack has really walked the walk in that regard. And full disclosure, I have a Substack over there with Kyle for Crystal Kyle and Friends, so I am a user of the platform. I also tested out Notes this week, and it seems like it's a sort of like well-crafted service there. But Substack has really lived up to the supposed values of free speech. They have not engaged in censorship. There's a wide range of ideological views, everything from, some of the top creators over there are resistance liberals, you've got never-Trumpers, you've got hard-right folks, you got far-left folks, and everything in between hosted on Substack, censorship-free. So there is a great irony to the supposed free speech warrior Elon Musk censoring any ability for these Substack writers to be able to promote their work over on Twitter. So one of the people who obviously is impacted by this is journalist Matt Taibbi. Fresh off his showdown with Mehdi Hasan over on MSNBC, he posted this on Twitter, quote, "Of all things, I learned earlier today that Substack links were being blocked on this platform. When I asked why, I was told it's a dispute over the new Substack Notes platform. Since sharing links to my articles is a primary reason I come to this platform, I was alarmed and asked what was going on. I was given the option of posting articles on Twitter instead. I'm obviously staying at Substack and will be moving to Substack Notes next week." Okay, so Taibbi says, I found out I can't share Substack links on Twitter. I'm going to transition over to using Substack and Notes more and Twitter less. As a result of this, next piece, Elon unfollows what media characterizes here as Twitter Files hero Matt Taibbi after reporter ditches the platform, which is pretty extraordinary, Sagar, because, Taibbi is the most prominent journalist who was involved in Twitter Files. He really was defending Elon quite, or at least refusing to criticize him in his interactions with Mehdi Hasan on MSNBC. And then hours later is being snubbed by Elon and effectively forced off the platform because they're blocking any sharing of Substack links.
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
What does it vindicate? I mean, it vindicates, what Taibbi and Barry Weiss and all of them had said. It's like, look, we're not doing press for the guy. They're like, we did the reporting. Taibbi was like, he didn't want to criticize him in that Mehdi Hasan interview, but he also was willing to say, screw you. I'm not going to stay here if you're going to go after the company that's backed me from the very beginning. So I think he showed showed his independence, at the very least. I do think it's totally crazy that the Substack was, and I tried it myself in terms of hard-coded where you're unable to look for it, all over the nascent notes notification. Confident companies don't ban their competitors like this. Like a company that's confident in its product is not going to ban a nascent user base, which is the notes feature. Okay, as I understand it, was trying to be used for internal subs, like to promote other Substacks or people who are already inside the community. I didn't, and does not look like it's marketed as a actual competitor to Twitter. What do you think?
I mean, listen, I'm gonna be real. I think I got an email as a Substack creator about Notes. Did I read that email? No.
Right.
I would not have known Notes existed were it not for Elon making it very clear that Notes exists.
Right.
I mean, it's an ultimate Streisand effect. So that's number one. Number two, right now Notes exists in like a beta format where Substack writers only basically can use it, for the sort of like trial opening testing period. And so I jumped on there to see what it looks like in terms of, my own like personal, is this going to be something that's useful in my life? And also in order to further understand this story. The functionality is very much like Twitter. It looks very much like, okay, you can like it, you can reply to it, you can retweet it or renote it or whatever they're calling it over there. So it looks very much like Twitter. But given the fact that it is hosted on the Substack platform, it is naturally going to be a place where Substack authors and journalists and Substack readers predominantly congregate in order to share like a lot of independent journalism that's going on Substack. Now, they're not banning links from Twitter or links from any other platform or any other journalistic outlet, but that seems like the natural niche and ecosystem. And the thing that it has that's kind of its value add in terms of Substack journalists is they have some neat tools for making it very easy to share. If you have a quote from your newsletter that you send out, you can very easily post that in the Notes platform in a way that looks really beautiful and hopefully for, independent journalists there sort of like draws people over. Is this like a major, genuine threat to Twitter? I really would be skeptical of that.
I don't believe that at all.
Because Twitter, at its best, I mean, we live in political Twitter. It's a very, particular niche world on Twitter. But Twitter is also like sports and fandom and all sorts of other things. It seems unlikely that, in fact, crypto was growing on Twitter. Porn was growing on Twitter. Like there's a whole other ecosystem, like range of ecosystems that are out there that it seems unlikely to me that Substack would be able to supplant. So, yeah, I mean, he really shot himself in the foot here, though, by drawing massively more attention and losing someone who has been, sort of a key ally for him in terms of Matt Taibbi, who has his own very large and significant following and fan base, who is now like, all right, I'm basically done with this platform. I'm committed to Substack. Another example of someone who has been very open to the Elon Musk Twitter takeover, very receptive to the idea that Elon might actually be committed to genuine free speech values, which personally I think that ship sailed long ago. Brett Weinstein actually posted this. Let's go ahead and put this next piece up on the screen. He said, Elon, the thing where the left eats its own, and this is Elon's reply, which I'll get to in a moment. We mustn't let that happen to the emerging Western Values Free Speech Coalition. Many of us have backed your Twitter play and taken substantial heat for it, are thrown by this move with regards to Substack. The public square is not a monopoly. So here is Elon's response to Brett. He says, number one, Substack links were never blocked. That's just not true. Matt's statement is false. Two, Substack was trying to download a massive portion of the Twitter database to bootstrap their Twitter clone, so their IP address is obviously untrusted. And number three, turns out Matt is/was an employee of Substack. Also not true. Right. Not true. The last piece here, just to show you again some of the hard coding that was going on at Twitter in an attempt to like crush Substack notes, but probably actually incidentally help them, and for some direct retaliation at Matt Taibbi. Put this up on the screen. So initially, Matt had indicated he thought his Twitter Files tweets had just been deleted from the platform. It doesn't look like they were, but it does look like Twitter is blocking users for searching for any and all of his posts, including his Twitter Files tweets. So if you search for M. Taibbi, which is his username on Twitter, you get this like chicken no results for Matt Taibbi screen. If you search for Matt Taibbi Twitter Files, you get the same thing. So basically, they have decided to hard code in a disappearance of Matt Taibbi on the platform.
Yeah, it's totally nuts. I mean, I just
So
think
petty.
it's just all capricious. I don't know another way to describe it. I don't
Yeah.
think anybody comes out of this looking good, and I don't really know why Elon, on a personal level, would burn like many of his people who were not necessarily willing to speak out on behalf of his purchase, but were like, hey, listen, this is important. It's important to get this information out there. It's like you're basically shooting your friends. Substack ideologically was already kind of aligned with Elon, and I just think this comes from a real position of weakness. At the end of the day, he's already admitted that the company is worth half of what he bought it for, actually less than half of what he bought it for, valued it only at $20 billion. He's hurting in terms of his advertising dollars. And what weak companies do is they ban, nascent, possible competitors like this, rather than being like, welcome, we're looking forward to seeing how this all goes out. Listen, I try to evaluate all the Elon decisions on their face as whether they're good or bad, and I just think this one is really, it's just stupid. That's the only way I can come away with it.
It is stupid. It's obviously counter to the supposed free speech principles that he claimed to purchase the company for. I mean, again, Substack has truly walked the walk with regard to no censorship and freedom of speech. And for that, and they've taken a lot of heat for it. I mean, I don't know if you remember this like news media moment where suddenly Substack came under attack and they were trying to frame it as like just like a bunch of fringe conspiracy theorists, which couldn't be further from the truth. Again, I think one of the, or maybe the top creator on all of Substack is like a resistance liberal. I mean, it really is genuinely ideologically diverse, which is part of what has made the Substack ecosystem really thrive in ways that some of the other free speech platforms have ended up being just like ideologically niche. And, I think there's a benefit to having a wide range of views all hosted on this platform in a way that you can like surface them and find this different work. So there's that piece. But then to your point, Sagar, on just like the business decision of this, yeah, it's your platform. You can do whatever. You bought it. You can do whatever you want with it. But there's a reason why other social media platforms have not gone in this direction, because they actually benefit from having, their platform be a nexus for journalism and sharing from all over the internet. That makes the experience on that platform, Twitter or Facebook or whatever it is, much more rich and much more valuable, and keeps users there. Elon, decision by decision, is making Twitter more and more useful and more and more. It's making it more and more useless. Exactly. That's what I meant to say. Because it's, I just find myself, not because I have any like ideological vendetta, I just don't find it as useful as I used to. So I use it less, I post less. It feels sort of like moribund and dying because of each of these incremental steps. So I think this is like a case in point of capriciousness, pettiness, burning bridges of people who, were really open to the project that you were engaged in, and just really bad business decisions ultimately.
Yeah, no, I think it's absolutely crazy. Just looking at all this, I think it's a very dumb business decision. And I think Twitter is much worse off for losing Matt Taibbi, especially after Taibbi did such a good job reporting the Twitter files. That's another really stupid thing if you think about it. The Twitter files were great for Twitter, and they were great for Substack, because what happened? He published them on Twitter and had links to his Substack.
Yeah.
People could go read more if they want to, if they like his work, and they produced a ton of engagement and free press
not a zero-sum game
for Twitter.
Right.
The internet does not have to be zero-sum. This is like stupid cable news thinking. It's something that we have rejected from day one of first on Rising and here at Breaking Points. Notice, we have partners for our show. We actively encourage people, our own customers technically, to go subscribe to their stuff.
Yes.
We're like, please go to this other platform, to another subscription product. Go and give money to them, because we know it's not zero sum. And if we do something good, they'll have our backs at that time.
Yeah, because number one, we believe in that as a values decision.
Right.
And number two, it's a good business decision too. So yes, it's not a zero-sum game. This is stupid, and it's making Twitter worse.
In the words of Michael Scott, win, win, win.
There you go. Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Sagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.